It's part of my channel to do viewers' watch collection reviews, so without further ado, let's check out Frank's watch collection. Let's go, my friends! Hi, hello and welcome, my friends, as mentioned before, to Frank's watch collection review. Frank is a great guy, has very beautiful pieces in his collection, and he is a big vintage fan. So let's check out in the detail all his watches. And my friends, please share with Frank and me your recommendations and your thoughts. Let's really check out Frank's collection. With which watch to start? This is every time the same struggle for me. Anyways, Frank does own a couple of vintage chronos, so why not check out first the Lowenthal vintage chronograph mono rattrapante, which is a very interesting complication from my point of view. 38 millimeters of diameter, it's dating back to 1938. If you consider that the normal size was 34 millimeters those days, it's pretty big. For the time, at least. The complication also is very fine. So if you start the chronograph with the pusher at 2 o'clock, you then are able to read the time. So you push and hold the pusher at 4 o'clock, and you can actually check out the current round time. And if you let go of the pusher at 4 o'clock, then the stop second flies actually to the real time. This is very useful, and for that age a very interesting complication. So overall I like the condition. It reminds me a little bit of the retro vintage inspired Chronos from Regine. Very good looking piece, and it's every time very cool to see what treasures you can find in the vintage area. BREITLING Super Ocean Heritage 57 Rainbow. What a beautiful piece. Yeah, it's sort of a lifestyle diver, but true to the original sort of, and I definitely love the hint of color on the dial with the different colored loom, which is to me still a stunner. I was really surprised and happy about this release. Well, just 100 meters of water resistance, but true to the original actually. So from my point of view, still a gorgeous watch, a beautiful diver, and it's great to see that it's still in Frank's collection. The next chronograph is actually from 1920. Unfortunately, the manufacturer is not known, but look at this gorgeous piece. And you can see there definitely the influence from the pocket watch area. 43 millimeter of diameter. The case is made of sterling silver. We do have an enamel dial, and what a beauty. And check out the condition of this piece. And this is one of those watches where I definitely could consider also for myself a vintage chrono. Another vintage piece, ROLEX SUBMARINER Hulk, discontinued last year. If I think back to 2014, 2013, this watch wasn't that much wanted. In comparison with the new Submariner iteration and the new Kermit, I think the Hulk is still the most beautiful piece. Especially with the sunburst dial, this watch has really something. And you really can tell Frank likes colorful watches. The Chronos with a lighter dial color, the Rainbow Breitling, and now the Hulk, all a little bit more special, all very interesting, and it's good to see that Frank was able to get this particular piece. Let's get back in time again to the 1950s and check out the CONTEX chronograph. 38.7 millimeters of diameter, so gets a little bit bigger, with a Venus 188th chronograph movement inside. And you definitely can see a trend with those vintage watches, or at least the taste from Frank. It's a beautiful piece, but Frank, I'm honest, I'm more over the moon about the 1920s sterling silver cased chrono. It's still a great watch, a very elegant chrono, I have to say. But damn, this sterling silver chrono with 43 millimeters of diameter, this would be definitely my sweet spot. From the 1950s to the 1940s, and we do talk about the brand BOVET. Here also a mono rattrapant with the Vosjou 84 movement inside, and it's very interesting to compare the first one with this BOVET, because just 2 years, but the BOVET seems at least a little bit more modern than the other rattrapant chronograph. Function is the same, of course, and it's very interesting for me to see that Frank really has a nice history of the watch designs. 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. This is a very interesting and very well thought out collection so far. The last watch in his collection I did review actually also before here on the channel, so I will leave leave a link here, or I think here, the BREITLING RB765, the re-edition of the co-pilot's watch from 1953, and it's sort of a one-on-one copy. The chronograph does sport a 15-minute counter. This is because they just have had 15 minutes time to check the airplane from the outside or to inspect the plane before they have to take off. You can see sort of a pattern here with Frank's collection. You've got vintage chronographs, you do have vintage inspired chronos, of course. From my point of view, a very interesting collection, and the BREITLING RB765 is definitely a great addition. My friends, you know, when I do watch collection reviews, I as well would like to give sort of recommendations so how to continue those collections. To be honest, Frank's collection from my point of view is already very balanced. You can see definitely a pattern there. You've got vintage inspired chronographs and watches. You do have vintage chronographs. You've got the SUBMARINER, which is it's a Hulk, it's vintage, it counts, it's discontinued. But I would like to see there, from my point of view, for example, would be a vintage Datejust. 36mm of diameter. You can get this watch from your birth year, which is very interesting. So you do have sort of a vintage theme there. It's a very iconic piece, and I think it could fit perfectly into your collection. The second watch on my mind comes actually from TAG Heuer. It's a chronograph, but a very elegant one. I do talk about the TAG Heuer Carrera 160 years anniversary edition with a silver dial. It's very close to one of the first Carreras TAG Heuer did produce, and I think this as well, with a black leather strap, the silver dial, the sort of vintage fake loom, and this would fit perfectly into the current collection. You have got the counterweight to the RB765, which is also a vintage inspired chronograph, and I think it could fit very well there. The next chronograph in my mind, the new Speedy. I mean, it's obvious, Frank does like vintage inspired chronographs, and the Speedmaster, the new iteration of the Speedmaster, is exactly that. Step dial, applied logo, even the new bracelet is awesome, combined with an interesting chronograph movement, manual windable, 15,000 Gauss, master coaxial. So Frank, take this into consideration. I could really imagine this piece. Last but not least, could be also a Zenith chronograph, because you do like complications, you do like the chrono complication. Zenith did present also chronographs with a calendar function. Of course, the El Primero is very interesting. Combined with the calendar complication would be spot on, because it is sort of more elegant. You do have a different complication than the mono rattrapante. Alright, my friends, this concludes Frank's watch collection review, and I'm, as usual, eager to learn about your opinion. What do you think about the collection? What are your thoughts about my recommendations, and what would you recommend to Frank? Leave a comment in the comment section below. My friends, I wish all of you now a very happy weekend, a good start into the new week. I look forward to see you in the next one. Say goodbye and auf Wiedersehen. Euer Konstantin. Ciao, guys.